Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Jemma, and joining me again this week, I have the one and only Kirk. Welcome back, Kirk.
Hello.
Hello. What a fine week it is in July. I Hopefully for
Hot.
you as well.
It's hot
Hot.
where I am. Yeah,
It's
very
cold
hot.
where I am. It's so
Okay.
so bizarre the
Yeah.
disparity between the
I'll,
two.
I'll take that. We can swap.
Yeah,
We'll spend 6 months traveling back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm quite happy to have a bit of a cool reprieve, and when I say cold, I know it's nothing like what you experience in your winters, but it's lovely here because, it's weird it's so hot over summer, so I'm happy to have a break.
Yeah, I think you get it much worse than we do. I'm just not used to it. So
Yes. But thank you for joining me again this week. We have a lot to talk about. It's a big week. It's obviously Donkey Kong Bonanza week, so we're going to talk about that. We also wanted to revisit the Switch 2, I guess, in terms of it's been a little over a month now. So we're going to start with our thoughts 1 month in, how we're feeling, as well as some of those direct rumors. So we've been hearing a lot about that and plenty of other stuff to talk about. So let's start with that Switch 2 recap. June the 5th, it came out. It's now, a little bit after July the 5th. Obviously, we're a week past that. But I wanted to just check in with you, Kirk, and see how do you feel about the Switch 2 now that you've had some time with it? 5 odd weeks, I suppose. Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I'm liking the games I'm playing on it.
Hmm.
I don't know really how much more I'm enjoying it than the normal Switch at this
Yeah.
point. I want more
Mm.
games. I
Mm.
there's not enough to look like. I mean, we have a couple games, that we'll talk about here coming up, but d- I just need more announcements. I need
Mm.
something on the horizon, and that's not to say that there aren't games on the horizon. Obviously, we got DK Bonanza and stuff, but not exactly in my wheelhouse. So
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough, fair enough. I tend to agree. I definitely am loving my Switch 2. It seems to have easily just slotted into my life and replaced my Switch. So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
true. It did do that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm using it a lot. I'm still playing a lot of Mario Kart World. Um, Loving the games I've played as well, just like you. And, these are mostly review games, but they've been excellent, really, really good, and really helped showcase for me the power of the Switch 2. But it has felt, like, and I've thought this every week because we look ahead to the games coming out, and every time there's a list of games coming out, it's all Switch games, which is fine and great, and they all play on the Switch too, but there's nothing for the Switch to there's obviously Donkey Kong Bonanza, that we've got Drag, and by the way, Drag X Drive, I heard someone refer to it as Drag and Drive, even though it's an X. So I'm wondering if that's how we pronounce it. Drag and
Well,
Drive,
maybe
maybe?
there's got to be an official statement
There
somewhere.
has to be. Yes. We've got quite a few of those sports titles we talked about last week. But, when is Metroid Prime coming out? When, we don't have a release date for Hyrule Warriors. Um, I guess, and yeah, there's no week to week releases to look forward to, I guess. So I'm definitely feeling the same way. So kind of leads to this Nintendo Direct rumor, and maybe that's why people are clamoring for one, because is Nintendo waiting to announce more games? Like, are they waiting for Donkey Kong Bonanza, for example? I guess I wanted to get your take on that as well. Like, do you think there will be a Direct this month? Because that's what I've been hearing for the last kind of 2 weeks, really. A lot of people thought it would be last week. Now they're saying it'll be before the end of July. You have any thoughts on that?
I'm trying to think of when we normally get them. There's usually a September direct. Is that right? Am I
Yeah.
remembering that
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So if we're going to have one, it would have to be soon if they want to still keep that September schedule.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know what it would be unless, I mean, if they want to talk more about Metroid Prime 4, I get
Mhm.
it. But if they're going to have one, it will hopefully be like a lot of third party releases. Because, like, going back to the first part, the thing about the Switch 2 is it does have all this power, it does have the excellent graphics. but we haven't seen a whole lot released to take advantage of that,
Mhm.
or to highlight that. There were some great titles at launch. I've gushed endlessly about Kunitsugami, for
Mhm.
example. I want
Yeah.
more Kunitsugamis,
Yes.
and they're not there. So whether it's a game that's a year or two old that's finally coming to the Switch, great. If it's something new that's being released and they're now saying, "Hey, this is coming to the Switch as well," then let's do it. But like even like Borderlands 4 is coming out
Mm.
very soon on the other consoles, and we still don't have an official date. I don't think for the Switch, other than later in 2025. Um,
Mm. Yeah, that's a good point.
so
Yeah.
yeah, if there's a direct coming, just fill it with games, please.
Yeah, yes, that's what we need. We need to see what do you call those reels? What do we call them? Those, games reels, trailer reels, whatever you like to.
Oh yeah, where they show
Yeah.
just a whole bunch of them, and
Yes. Yeah, just to give people, I guess, something to be excited about, to look forward to. I don't know whether they're like Nintendo is just waiting for Donkey Kong Bonanza to happen first. I feel like they're banking on this being one of the biggest games for the Switch too. Mario Kart World was their launch title, their first party launch title, but this is arguably bigger just because I mean, Mario Kart is very successful and very popular and it has phenomenal sales for the previous iteration, but it's also got that long, what do you call it? It's like over time, people play it for many years. They come and go and they might not get it day one, they might get it next year or the year after, whatever. But Donkey Kong Bonanza is more a point in time, a one player experience that a lot of people are looking for, I think. Because
yeah,
there's not really that at the moment. And of course, in the absence of Mario, Donkey Kong will fill that void, I think. So, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't even know if I wanna like, actually have a guess and say there will be one in July or not, because I just can't tell what Nintendo's doing right now. I think they're just being so secretive. It's hard to say, "Yes, there'll be one in July," because you're right, there is usually one in September. I don't know that there is usually one in July, and we do have the Pokemon Presents coming up as well. So, do they wanna clash with that? They've obviously don't wanna clash with Donkey Kong Bonanza and steal that thunder. Maybe at the end of July, so maybe in the next 2 weeks, like, towards the later end of 2 weeks, maybe?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
we'll
mean, yeah,
see.
because they definitely wouldn't want to do it before uh, Bonanza comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You got to let that ride its course for a little bit, and then maybe they are going to switch up the timing because they also don't tend to release a system in June.
That's it, exactly.
So they've obviously are throwing out their schedule
Yeah,
and choose what
yes.
they're going to
They're going
do.
off script. They're just who knows what they're doing. But
Yeah,
some of the yeah,
we'll
sorry.
need something close to the holiday season, in September to start building up interest in games that people will want to purchase, around the
Mm,
holidays, especially if they're still looking to move more Switch 2 consoles. Then, the more games they have available, the better they're going to be able to do it. But I mean, it obviously sold like crazy. So we know there are players out there wanting something. Why
mhm.
it's not being delivered, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's an excellent point, and, it also reminds me of, um, when we get these sizzle reels, is that what they're called? Sizzle reels.
Maybe, yeah, let's go with that. I like the sound of it anyway. So,
Yeah. A lot of the time, games are announced like, third-party games are announced via a Nintendo Direct.
mhm.
Yeah. So, for example, is Borderlands 4 waiting for Nintendo to announce it? And I don't know what the rules are. I don't know whether third parties can go ahead and announce titles on their own for Switch 2, or they have to, say, do what Nintendo says kind of thing. I'm not sure how that works.
I wonder if I'm sure there are a lot of things that could apply there. I do think that if Borderlands 4 is going to be featured in a Nintendo Direct, then Nintendo may say, "Well, why don't you wait until we run this, and then we can make the announcement in the Direct when
Mm,
everyone's eyeballs are on it." So it's good to do that then because you got a lot of people watching and will know of the date straight away as opposed to relating for any kind of reports on it. So
true.
maybe
Mhm.
that's it.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. Very well could be. And there's some interesting rumors that go along with the direct as well. Like people are thinking that there might be a Pikmin 4 update, Switch 2 expansion or reversion or whatever you want to call it for Pikmin 4. Do you think that I mean, I think we'd like that, right? We love Pikmin over here on Pure Nintendo. So, big Pikmin fans. Do you think that's likely, and would you like to see
I don't know.
that?
It definitely could use it in that. I mean, well, it was such a gorgeous game on the Switch to begin with.
It
I don't mean
was.
it could use it like it needs the graphics upgrade. It didn't. It
Yes,
looked fantastic.
it did, yeah.
Um, so, like, I think when people are saying, "Well, it could be Pikmin 4," it's just like, well, what we could pick any Nintendo game
Yeah.
that hasn't been updated and say,
Yeah,
maybe it'll be this one, maybe it'll be that one."
true, true, mhm.
Um, what would they bring? It already looks really good. It's got great gameplay. I don't know what a Switch 2 upgrade
Mm,
would offer other than, maybe better frame rates. I can't recall frame rates being an issue, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played it.
yeah,
As for
mm,
whether I would play it, I don't know because I already played it. I completed it. I don't know that it's something I'd want to start over again. So maybe if they brought like some additional gameplay features or new levels or something,
mhm,
some
yeah.
new things we could dig down into,
Yeah, yeah,
then I'd be, I drop, whatever price they're going to charge for the upgrade.
yeah,
Um, that I would do it, but otherwise, just to play it again on the Switch too, if there isn't anything new, then no.
yeah. No, that's fair enough. I'd probably fall into the same camp there. I would like, what was I gonna say? Definitely new content would be wonderful. I'd probably prefer to see a Pikmin 5 at this point, but I think it's too soon for that. The one thing that might intrigue me is whether they add mouse controls. I suppose you mentioned gameplay features.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
they
sure.
they could do that. I mean, Pikmin probably would work well with a mouse, I imagine. That could be
Yeah,
fun.
being able
Mm.
to like select your where you're tossing the Pikmin would be a lot easier. I would think
Yeah.
if you could just slide that around and yeah,
Yeah.
boy, some of those challenges might be a lot easier too that way. So
Mm. Yeah, that would be
again,
neat. Mm.
I still wouldn't play it just for the mouse controls,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
they could do yeah they could bring like some new mini games or something that are mouse control based. I bet.
Yeah, yeah. Even some kind of Pikmin in fact, that'd be nice to have some interim Pikmin outing. Doesn't have to be Pikmin 5, but maybe it's a Pikmin collection of something. Not necessarily a collection of 1, 2, 3, and 4, anything like that. I mean, like a collection of mini games or some other adventure for Olimar or the other astronauts. Just something Pikmin related, I guess I'm saying, but not necessarily Pikmin 4 in it because it's not that old and because we have played it, for example, without new content, or Pikmin 5. I think some kind of stepping stone that, I don't know, keeps us happy until there is a Pikmin 5. And also would I think it'd be a really great demonstration of the mouse controls if they wanted to throw something our way that utilized that feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know how likely it is. I mean, Nintendo already has updated a lot of their titles, their Switch titles, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was on its way. I just yeah, I don't know what it would entail. I think it would be nice though, and it would hopefully if anyone missed out on Pikmin 4, it would be nice for them because, like you said, we've played it, but if you haven't, I mean, it's a great game, obviously, and like you said, it looks fantastic. I can't imagine how much better it might look on the Switch too, because it does look
Hmm.
gorgeous already. So, yeah, that would be very interesting. The other thing that people seem to really want, and they're saying could be announced in a possible direct this month, are themes for the Switch 2. You know, like for your home screen kind of thing. I've heard a lot about this recently. I've never really cared either way, I suppose. Like, I would use them if they were there, but I don't need them. But how do you feel about themes? And do you think that's something we'll see in the future?
I get the appeal of it. Um, I spend so little time on that screen where
Yeah,
when, when I turn the switch on, I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm
yeah.
going to do, and I just push right through it. So I don't know that I would need like yeah, obviously with me it would be like a Fire Emblem or Xenoblade Chronicles.
Mm, mhm,
And themes, although they look nice, depending on how they're designed, they can also kind of muck things up a little bit.
mhm. Yeah.
I like the clarity and the sharp cleanliness of the switch screen.
Mm,
When I'm selecting games and such. So it would depend on how they implement the themes and who's doing it. Now it's all going to be Nintendo, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
No, that's a good point. They'd obviously need to make it work,
yeah,
with the colors, like the accessibility and, making sure you can see what you're doing on the home screen.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm sure they would. But I agree that I spent a little time there as well. I just don't know, like, it would look nice for 2 seconds. Like, "Oh, yeah." Maybe it'll encourage me to play a game that I've chosen as my theme. Like, I really every time I turn my Switch on, I see, Mario or something, or
that's
Fire Emblem or whatever, and then I might feel like playing Fire Emblem after seeing it 20 times. I've just got this, it's almost, what do you call it? When you have that flash that you can't detect. What's that? Subliminal?
uh,
Subliminal
oh yeah,
messaging?
like
Yeah.
yeah, sure. That's
Yeah.
not a bad idea. Oh, you know what they could do with the themes is have them animated, like, maybe they could put some Pikmin in it, and they would
Oh,
go
that'd
and
be cool.
grab the, artwork for the games that you're not playing and bring it to the front. Like, "Oh, you want me to play that? Alright.
That would
Okay,
be neat.
little blue fella, I'll do that."
Yes. And I mean, the Nintendo Today app has themes, so it's not like Nintendo is opposed to them. I
Yeah.
just think I think when you're in the Nintendo Today app, the theme persists while you're kinda scrolling, but if you're on the, yeah, I don't know. But people seem to want it, so,
Yeah, it's
yes.
common, it's everywhere, and like I said, I'm not against it. If they're there, I
Yeah,
would look through it and see if there's one I like. It's just in no way,
totally.
shape, or form anything I'm clamoring for.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, same. I definitely would use it, but it doesn't sell a Switch 2 for me, but that's
yeah,
okay. Um, I think yeah, I guess if enough people are talking about it, but as we know, Nintendo doesn't really bow to pressure of the market. They do what they want, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think they didn't wanna launch the Switch 2 being too different, as in they wanted it to be fairly similar with the operating system, the user interface, sorry, more so, to the Switch 1, so it felt familiar, but also shinier, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So, I think they wouldn't have launched with it, which obviously they didn't, and it also gives people a reason to be excited if they add it later, like, "I love my Switch 2, what now? Oh, cool, themes are coming." Do you know what I mean? Like, it's something for people to get excited about
yeah,
down,
it's
yeah.
something to change up the experience a bit so people don't get bored.
Yeah, yeah.
On the other hand, that main startup screen is kind of like a branding. So
Mm,
when you bring
mhm,
in themes and start to change that up, it kind of loses that identity.
mhm.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's something that would definitely happen if it's different on everybody's system.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. Mm. Lots to think about, so maybe that's why it's not a quick thing for Nintendo to just implement. They have to consider all these aspects
Yeah.
before they throw it in, but anyway, that's cool. Anything else to add about these directs or the Switch to 1 month in before we move on to some other news?
No, the only thing I will bring up with my experience, and this is
Mhm,
directly with me and my television, I was not complaining. I mentioned before that I had games that have UHD options,
mhm.
but I could not select them. Like a
Oh,
Kunitsugami, it was just completely grayed out. And I went into the settings. There was that thing for a while where people were saying if you have UHD, you've got to adjust it here,
mhm.
or your color could be completely washed out. And I went to do that, and it said I don't have a UHD TV, which I definitely do.
Oh.
Um, but so I went on to Samsung's support site and asked a question. And about a week later, someone else came. Well, first someone asked and said, "I don't have an answer to this, but what do you think of your Switch 2? Do you like it?" Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. He was thinking about getting one and hadn't yet. So I said, "Yeah, pick it up. But if you're going to connect it to your Samsung TV, let's resolve this problem first." Somebody else answered and pointed out what it was. I had to go into my TV and then going down the settings. I won't go through the whole thing because I don't know the exact steps off the top of my head. But
Mhm,
I had to go in and tell the television that this port there. I have four HDMI ports.
mhm.
I had to say this port is UHD, and this port has a UHD device connected, and this port has a UHD device connected.
Oh.
Once I told the TV that I had a UHD device connected, then the switch recognized that the TV was a UHD device.
Right?
So I I thought the whole point of most of these um, connection options these days was to improve the communication so they could just look at each other and say, "Yeah, yeah, we're all UHD, let's get along."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I basically had to introduce them to each other, so I did, and now it's all connected and everything looks, the way it's supposed to look, and I'm happy, so problem solved.
Problem solved. I love that. I like that you had to introduce them. That's a nice little way to put it. So
So, if
that's
anyone
great
else
to
is
know.
having that problem, yeah, just see there's a problem. There may be a setting on your television, I guess is my point, that you can go in
Yeah.
and say, this port has a switch 2 connected, switch 2 is UHD, the TV is UHD, let it all pass through.
That is a really good tip. So thank you. If you have especially a Samsung TV, I guess, but others probably have a similar feature, so look for that, of course. If you're having any issues, let us know your thoughts on that as well. It's very interesting. I would not have even thought to do that. So I would have assumed the same, that they could just get along, shake
Yeah.
hands or hug each other, whatever. Hey,
Yeah. Oh, and
UHD.
maybe TVs can now. Maybe this is just an
Maybe.
older television
Could
and it
be.
didn't have that capability back then. I can't imagine that's
Mm.
the case, but who knows?
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for that tip. Well, let's move on because this is the week of, I guess, Donkey Kong, because we kind of mentioned it earlier, but it is coming out on July the 17th. So this is the next big thing for the Switch 2. And it was a very small trailer, this Pauline singing trailer. I think it was on X actually, but I couldn't find it on Nintendo of America's YouTube channel, so I might not be able to put this into the podcast if you're watching it on YouTube, but it's really cute, and we'll link to it in the description. Um, I mean, everyone seems very excited by this game, and I'm very glad to hear that. I like the positivity, I like the excitement, and guess what, Kirk? I got to try it yesterday.
Where?
So
How? Tell
I
me.
know. It was very lucky, really. It was a very fortuitous moment because I took my son to the movies, and it was his first time going with just a friend and not an adult. So I went to pick him up from the movies. So, I went to find out what time the movie finished, and I still had like 20 minutes. So I was going to go to like Kmart or something. And walked downstairs, and there was this giant Nintendo area just on display. And I'm like, "Oh, cool. What's going on here?" So I went and had a look, and of course, they were promoting the Switch 2. It's, what is it? Mid-year, break here. We're on school holidays, and they're promoting the Switch 2, of course, it's just come out. They had Mario Kart World, I think, they had 3 games. I don't know what the other one was though, but they had Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza on display, and you could try them. So, of course, naturally, I had to try Donkey Kong Bonanza. So, I was talking to some of the staff there. They're all from Nintendo Australia, so shout out to them. Thank you for answering some of my questions, but they were really lovely, actually. They were really helpful. And, yes, the game, it's a demo, so you get 15 minutes with the game. It's more like a timed thing, so you can go as far as you can in 15 minutes. I just spent most of my time smashing blocks because it's insanely fun to do that. So
You mean like blocks as
Hmm.
in
Oh, rocks or whatever.
the okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like the mountains and stuff and the terrain, you were just
Yeah. Yeah.
terraforming a bit with
Mhm.
your fists?
Yes, it's very easy to do and very satisfying to do. So it kind of gives you a bit of an intro with, the story or whatever, but it's a demo, so you don't spend too much time with that. And, yeah, blasting away, collecting coins, collecting bananas, and then eventually you get to the surface, and, Pauline is with you. There's a bit of a cutscene that gets missed, obviously, in the demo, but Pauline is there, and you can transform into one of the Kong people. What are they called? Kong Bonanza? And smash your way through even more in a more hardcore way. It looks fantastic, honestly, and I only had 15 minutes, but it really did look, and I was playing on handheld, so I can't imagine how much brighter and bigger it will look on a screen, a big TV screen, of course, but in handheld mode, it looked really nice. It was very easy. I think one of the concerns, maybe this was a Trev concern when we saw Donkey Kong Bonanza initially, was the camera kinda getting lost with the uh, you know, punching your way through mountains. I didn't see any issues with that. Again, it was only a 15-minute demo, but it was really fun and easy. There's a little direction point to help guide you if you get lost, because as you're punching through mountains, it is easy to lose your direction, at least if you don't have a sense of direction like I don't. But there is a little guide that kind of keeps you on the straight and narrow, so to speak. What else can I tell you about this? Yeah, I think the just generally it looks lovely. Like it's very colorful. The graphics are very neat. Like in the cutscene that I did see, it was beautiful. There's all these little DK type of like they look like Diddy Kong actually. I don't know if any of them were Diddy Kong. But there are heaps of these creatures helping Donkey Kong mine at the start. And then you find the giant banana vanadium, whatever it is, and then your adventure is off. Obviously, like I said, you don't see the story, which we've seen in the trailers anyway, where Pauline is announced to us, but obviously that is part of it, and then you go into your actual adventure. So yeah, I was so excited to get some hands-on time with it ahead of the launch, so definitely looking forward to the full release on the 17th. Um, I think yeah, I think people will be really, really surprised or not surprised, but delighted, I guess, by it. Like I said, I just wanna smash all the rocks. I'm just and it's like in Mario, okay? I don't know how many people can relate to this, but in Mario games, sometimes if I'm not just running through, if I have the time, especially when I was a kid, I used to play, like, Super Mario Brothers 3, I would just smash every brick, in the level. I would just go ahead and smash all the bricks just because they're there and they needed to be smashed.
Oh yeah, they're unsmashable, exactly.
Yes. So, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza takes that to a whole new level because there's so much to smash. Like, I didn't smash everything just because I wanted to move on and use my time a little bit more wisely than just smashing rocks, but I did smash a lot, and there's just so much there to uncover, so you're not just smashing and nothing happens, you're smashing and there's coins or bananas, there's all sorts. There's gonna be a lot of secret things hidden in these rocks, so I think it's gonna be worth your time to do so. Yeah, I can imagine a lot of people spending a long time with this game and really just digging in, like, that's a bit of a pun, isn't it? Digging in and finding those just hidden features and little nuggets of detail. So, yeah, really looking forward to that one. Any did you have any questions or are you I know you said it's not in your wheelhouse, but how do you feel about the release this week? Do you think it's exciting?
Well, my first question actually has less to do with the game and more about where you played it. Did you say this was like a Nintendo setup inside of a Kmart?
No, I was on my way to Kmart and I got
Okay.
distracted. No, it was just in the middle of like a shopping mall, like inside mall, and there's this big area. There's shops on the left, shops on the right, but the center area changes depending on whatever. Like they might sell shoes one day. They might sell. I think Santa is there during Christmas time. It's where the Santa
Okay.
photos are. There was a big display, a big Nintendo, like a cube sized, like not a cube size, cube shaped arena with Nintendo branding and TVs. There were TVs, Mario Kart was on the TVs, but Donkey Kong seemed to be on the handheld. And you could just go in and there was like 5 to 10 Nintendo branded people working there, and they would, talk to you and guide you and give you help if you needed it, etc. Yeah. So
Okay.
it was
Were there a lot
a
of
pop up.
people there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was pretty full. I didn't have to wait to get to Donkey Kong Bonanza, but there were other people playing next to me. I think they had like 4 devices, so and there were people playing next to me the whole time that I was there, so yeah, but I think people were maybe more interested in Mario Kart, to be honest. It looked like that was pretty busy, but yeah. Yeah, definitely people around. It wasn't, like, the busiest time of day, I didn't go at, like, lunchtime, it was kind of later in the afternoon, so probably as it was winding up, um, yeah, but it was a weekday, so
Right. See,
school holidays, weekdays. Sorry?
I never run into anything fun like that. I never even run into Kmart's. They're all out of business here.
Oh, that's
I'm
right. Yeah.
surprised to even hear that name. Boy,
Yeah.
Kmart.
It's very popular here, honestly. No, it's funny because I don't see them very often either, and it's it's really cool for me because the last time I saw a Nintendo display at this particular mall in that spot was for the 3DS. I remember playing the 3DS right there. So they have done it before, but not for a long time. I don't remember seeing the Wii or the Wii U and I might have just missed it, honestly, it's not like I'm there every day, but,
Mhm.
yeah, there is a precedent, I suppose, where I have seen them there before, and yeah, I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they did that. I think it's really good to do some marketing, especially, during school holidays, and I don't know how big Australia the market is here, but we have Nintendo Australia, so I'm glad they were able to travel. They're from Melbourne, but I'm glad they were able to come up to Brisbane, and I'm assuming they'll do other cities as well, so yeah. But
Yeah.
it was funny because I didn't know about it. It's not like Nintendo had emailed me saying, "Hey, guess what? We're in Brisbane." So, yeah, that was interesting. Maybe it's meant to be a surprise. Just a
Well,
random
maybe,
surprise.
yeah, they're afraid you're gonna get the story out and then there'll be too many people there.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Exactly. Mm.
well, I see, because I think that would be helpful, for a guy like me who's partially interested in the game, but probably isn't gonna get it, would just wait for someone else to get it and then
Mhm.
play it to decide if I want to, which brings me to my point of why, or maybe they will, this is the kind of game I need a demo for, whether it's
Mm.
somewhere
Mhm.
else or I could just download it and play it on my Switch. I would want to be able to play it for an hour or so and then decide, game like this that normally doesn't appeal to me could, because obviously it's Nintendo and they know what they're doing with this kind of game.
Mhm.
So I would enjoy it more than I think a lot of third party equivalents. But yeah, I need to get my hands on it first in one way or another.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Hopefully they do a demo. How often do they do first party demos? I think there was a Princess Peach demo, Princess Peach Showtime. Did we have a Donkey Kong? What was it? Mario versus Donkey Kong might have had a demo, maybe. We don't generally get like Mario Odyssey didn't have one, did it? So,
Yeah,
mm. But being such a new, title and a new system, it would make sense. I hope they do. I don't know.
yeah,
That would be neat. And I think, yeah, like you said, it would convince people like you who are interested but not committed,
yeah.
or maybe curious, you could say. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
it's
don't
a bit hypocritical of me because I was just complaining about the lack of games.
know.
Obviously,
Yes.
there's a very, very big one that I've got room for if I wanted to do it. But
And maybe, maybe Nintendo is sort of not letting not I don't know if that's the right term, but maybe they're holding off for this one. But I mean, that's every week we see tens, really 20, 30 Switch games release, um,
mhm.
among first party titles as well. So I'm not sure why it would make a difference. Maybe just because it's a new system. But like you said, they've sold, how many millions are we up to now? I thought there was some new data on that. Like they've sold a lot of
uh,
consoles. So
Trevor's supposed to be here with those numbers.
yes.
He commits those things to memory.
Yeah, I know. The details, the details. Yes, we miss you, Trev. Um, so the other cool thing kind of related to that is that I noticed during the week that it was the 44th anniversary of Donkey Kong, as in the original arcade machine came out in July 1981, July the 9th to be exact. I thought that was really cool. Donkey Kong Bonanza is kind of commemorating in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you would have seen this in Mario Kart World, the level that is sort of an homage to Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Boy, I got a big kick out of that the first time that came up, and we're just like
Yeah.
driving up the rafters.
Oh, so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you haven't played it, listeners, it's like you see it from the distance, and it looks like a 2D, like the 2D version of the arcade game, right? Like, it looks like it has those ramps with the ladders,
Mhm.
but then you actually drive up those ramps, and it's so fun. Yeah, I was the same. I was very excited to see
Yeah.
that.
I was disappointed I couldn't grab the hammer.
Yeah. Yes.
Boy, because I
Yeah.
will say 44 years ago, or, however many I played it, I mean, I was hugely into Donkey Kong,
Yeah,
when it
right.
was out. I mean, it helped that every arcade had it.
Mhm.
Every truck stop had it. I used to go to a church camp every year, and it was on a lake, and there was a marina that we
Mhm.
would boat to every day, and you could go get snacks and stuff, but I went there because they had, like, a Donkey Kong machine. You
Wow.
you could get fishing tackle, you could get a T-shirt that said something like, "Women love me, fish fear me." I don't know why I remember that, but that's gonna be in my head for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's
I didn't
funny.
buy any of those things. I just played Donkey Kong over and over and over again. I'd be late getting back to camp in time for dinner because I was sinking poorly.
Wow.
into
Yeah.
Donkey Kong. But yeah, the machines were everywhere. Arcades would have 2 or 3, 4, depending on the size of them, cabinets side by
Wow.
side because everyone was playing that
Oh
game.
my
So,
gosh.
yeah,
See,
it
if
was huge.
I didn't realize it was such a big deal because I wasn't, playing games in 1981. That's really cool to hear. So was it a bit of a phenomenon? Was it like a big thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, like the big ones, of course, were Space Invaders was first, and Pac Man,
Mhm, mhm,
and Donkey Kong. But yeah, it was. I think one of for me anyway, the main appeal was that it had a like the difficulty ramp was kind of fair for a while. You could put a quarter in that game and play it 3 4 minutes and be all right before it really started to get difficult. Other games got difficult much faster.
mm,
Um, and the changing screens, like when I would make it to what was the fourth one, like the factory one, I think was the hard one to get to.
mhm.
Um, Making it was just a joy that you could even get that far. I'm sure there were people who were, spending a lot more time on it than I was. I was just a kid.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, absolutely loved that game. And if I were out driving somewhere and hit a truck stop and they still had it there, I'd go play it again.
That's so cool. I love that. I've seen it obviously at arcades, retro arcades and things. It's still a thing, and it's so fun to play. So I can only imagine how exciting it would have been back then when those, arcade games were still relatively new. So, mm.
And of course, I do have it on the Switch. Mm,
The
One of the
original? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the 4 or 5. I think I got the Arcade Archives version,
Oh, yeah.
so
Mhm.
I don't have to go into Switch Online to play it.
Mhm.
I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
that's where I would have played it probably as well. Yeah, Switch
Yeah.
Online. Excellent. That is so cool. I love that. Listeners, if you have a Donkey Kong related, flashback memory, let us
Yeah.
know. What does it mean to you? Yeah. And it's interesting because, like I'm a huge Mario fan, right? Because I grew up with Mario, but Donkey Kong is older when you think about it. And he almost really that character in that game kind of started things off in a way, really, for
Mhm.
Nintendo. Yeah. So even though Mario has more games and seems to be more popular, Donkey Kong, yeah, has his place and he's historically relevant. So, yeah, it's cool to see him back, and I hope this game does well. I do. I do hope so. I think it will, by all accounts. Um, let's move on to some more news because last week we talked about sport games on the Switch 2, well, and the Switch, but most of the Switch 2. And we talked about WWE and we talked about Madden. But one thing we didn't, and we talked about hockey, and we got some comments actually on YouTube about that, Kirk. I don't know if you saw, but people agreed with you that we need the NHL on Switch 2.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
But like I said, hockey fans, we just want hockey everywhere, so
Yes.
we'll band together to promote the game.
Hopefully that happens. I
The
want
good
that
old
to
hockey
happen.
game.
I hope it happens for you guys. I do. I would love to see that. I think more is better. So bring it on. Bring on the hockey. One thing we didn't really consider, I suppose, was NBA, which is also huge, a huge sport for in general, but also on gaming systems. And during the week, the NBA 2K26 was announced to be coming to the Switch 2. And the cool thing is it's coming to the Switch 2 at the same time as other consoles on the 5th of September, so not too far away. There is also a Switch version, not just the Switch 2, which is nice. So 59.99 for the Switch, 69.99 for the Switch 2, so it's $10 extra. I don't know if that means you can get the Switch 1 version and then later on pay something. I didn't see that detail, to be honest, and upgrade it. Not sure if that's possible. There are several sorry, did you
Yeah, I just wanna chime in and say I
Yeah.
hope it is
Mm.
because the NBA 2K games are
Mhm.
massive,
Yeah.
absolutely massive. So if you could get that for the Switch, on an actual cart
Mhm.
and then upgrade and just have to download the updates, that would be great for not taking up way too much space on your
Mm.
system.
That's true. Yeah,
But I think even then, like even the previous games, you got it and it had some of it, but you still needed to download a ton of content to even play it
I
on
think
the
so.
Switch. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's true as well. And the Switch 2 version is confirmed to be a game key card. So
Mhm.
it's not a code in a box. Some people did think that was going to be the case. It is a card. It's just a game key card. But like Kirk said, if you get the Switch version and they have an upgrade option, you'll have more of a proper card, I guess, if that makes sense. It'll be like DLC in a way for the Switch 2 components.
Yeah.
There are a few editions of this game, but Nintendo seems to only be getting the standard edition. So that's a bit of a shame, but I think overall it's still positive that we're getting it day 1, Switch and Switch 2, with various options there. So, yeah, I think it's exciting. I mean, like you said, NBA is huge. Did you mean huge as in popular or file size actually, now that I think about it?
Well, I was speaking file size, but huge,
Yeah.
yes, as well.
Yes. I was
Very
thinking you
popular.
meant popularity, but now that I've just repeated it, I'm like, "Oh, you probably meant file size because you were talking about the download." So, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. It is huge in both ways. So that'll be really cool to see another, big entry coming to the Switch 2. I feel like NBA has been fairly consistent with the Nintendo systems with Switch 1. I
Mhm.
think we still have seen that one. So that's been one that has maintained its presence, which is neat, as opposed to,
Yeah,
like, WWE, which skipped quite a few years. But yeah,
yeah,
this
and
one.
I think the
Mhm.
the basketball games are amongst the better sports to play on a
Mm.
gaming console. The gameplay of the sport itself is just more conducive,
Yeah.
um, to that kinda thing.
Yeah, exactly, and I remember even playing the likes of, I don't know, NBA Jam or something on the Super Nintendo.
Mhm.
I feel like I did play a few sports games back then, actually, not being much of a sports fanatic myself, but, I played Madden, I played NBA Jam, a few others like that. So they definitely have their place. I'm excited for sports fans. I hope people enjoy it and have fun with it. Let us know if you're into NBA and if you're going to get 2K26, and if you're okay with the game key card situation, because that's the thing. It was a bit disappointing in a way. Not that I'm planning to get this game, but I did see a report that is it EA or who makes this game?
2K.
2K, sorry, 2K.
Yep.
So 2K had told one outlet that it was a physical card for Switch 2, and I think they just made a mistake because they corrected it the next day, saying, "No, it's actually a game key card." So,
I mean,
some
technically, it is still a physical
it
card,
is a card, that
just
is
has
true.
nothing on it.
Yeah.
Nothing of
It's
note.
it's empty. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it is a game key card. Um, hopefully, I don't know if people are getting used to that situation with the game key card. I don't know if people will just download the digital version anyway. Like you said, it's a big file size, so there's a lot to download. But if you get the game key card, you have to download it anyway. So I don't know. We'll see. Anything else to add to that or any other sports related stuff from last week? Or are we good to move on?
Good to move on.
Cool. So this next piece of news comes courtesy of you, Kirk.
Yes.
What have we got happening with Atelier Ryza?
Yeah, see, we're back into my wheelhouse now here,
Yes, nice.
JRPGs. Um, Koei Tecmo announced that they are repackaging and re-releasing the Atelier Ryza series. This was the series that was all three games are available for the Switch. It came out before Atelier Yuma from last year, which
Mhm,
was a new arc. They're releasing the trilogy digitally only again in one package. It's a DX version, so it's not they're basically enhancing everything. It's now coming with all of the of separate content that you had to purchase before, subscribe to the seasonal things or whatever they call them. Um, is all coming over to multiple consoles, including both the Switch and the Switch 2. Normally, I would say this isn't that old of a game, so I don't know that I would be interested in getting a new purchasing it again to play on the Switch. But since they are releasing a Switch 2 version, I am very curious to see what sort of enhancements that's going to have. They haven't announced anything, there's no details
mm,
on the word of what the differences would be between the Switch and the Switch 2. We just know it's going to come with graphic enhancements for both. There is going to be a new story in all three games, new playable characters, will be available. So it is going to add to the experience. It's not too far removed from what they do with the even older Atelier games that came out on whatever system, and then they re-released them for the Switch with some new content and graphic enhancements. They're doing that, and although this one isn't that far back, I'm interested mainly because out of all the Atelier games I played, and this was my introduction to the series. I'd never played any of them until I reviewed. I think Atelier Ryza 2 was the first one that I took on, and really liked it. And so I went back and bought the first one so I could play that too, and then also reviewed the third. Um, and I like these games more than Atelier Yumia, the latest one that came out. So I
Mm.
really enjoy this series. I'm glad they're doing this. I just have to sit tight and wait and see what all it's going to have.
Yeah, excellent. And the third one was it 2023? It's only a couple
Yeah,
years
it
old,
was
yeah.
just a couple years ago.
Mm. And, I'm thinking as I'm looking at the page which has all the details, um, this is also coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and that's kind of what is happening with Nintendo now. A lot of games will go to PS4 and 5, and now we're seeing games come to Switch 1 and 2. It's kind of the same thing when you think about it, which
Yeah.
is yeah, which is good. That gives players of both systems a chance to play it. Like you said, it doesn't say what the differences are, but, I guess the Switch 2 would be just graphically superior. Is this the type of game that would use mouse controls or no?
I don't think it would need it. I'm trying to think. I hadn't considered that before, so now I got to go back in time and get into the gameplay.
Mhm.
I don't believe so. There are some things. Actually, Atelier Yumiya, the latest one, actually would need it more because involves more aiming. You kind of have it's not a gun; it's like a staff sort of thing that is able to shoot stuff out, and you can acquire items and hit enemies from afar. But
Mm,
that's not in the Ryza games, so I don't think there would be a cause for it.
yeah, that's okay. No, I was just curious, really.
Mm.
Cool. I mean, they look lovely, these games, they really do. Um, are they as long as, say, Xenoblade Chronicles?
Not quite, but they are long. If you were to buy this package of all 3 games, you're looking at a few hundred hours of
Yeah,
gameplay.
right. Yeah,
A
3 in
couple to a
1.
few hundred, yeah.
Yeah, 3 in 1 is that's a good package, honestly, right there. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's awesome. Excellent. Thank you, Kirk. Listeners, let us know if you're interested in Atelier Ryza. Do we know why it's called the Secret Trilogy? Is that just what the overarching kind of story is about?
The
Or
subtitles for each game had the word secret in it. There was, what,
yeah, okay.
Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout, Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy was number 2, and then Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key.
Mhm. And was your
So,
favorite number 2 because you started with that one? Or was it
uh, it is, but also I think that had there are 2 key components in these games. The first one being, the JRPG sort of action combat elements, which from what I played in the past, this was the first one to really kind of focus on that,
Mhm.
which is the main reason I tried it, is because that's my kind of thing. But then, of course, there's the whole alchemy component where you are brewing, we'll say, everything in the game: your armor, potions, your staffs. You combine elements, you get them out in the field, you bring them back in, and it's kind of a completely separate game in itself. You're not just throwing them into the pot and hoping for the best. They're like puzzles you almost have to figure out in order to get higher and higher and higher quality items.
Mm.
Um, I think Atelier Ryza 2 was the best balance between those two. By Atelier Ryza 3, they started adding extra elements into it that kind of into the combat too, that sort of muddied the everything up.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I assume with this one, when you play it, you'll be able to choose from 1, 2, or 3 straight away. You wouldn't have to just go you would have to complete 1 to get to 2 to get to 3, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would bet so, and I'd also be curious to see if they are planning to release the DX versions individually, or if you have to
Oh,
get them
yeah.
all together, and if
Hmm.
so, what they're going to charge for that, because it is 3 games, so I can't
Yeah.
imagine it's going to be cheap.
No.
Um,
No. Definitely not. Yes. And so we just have a 2025 release date. We don't know
yeah.
an actual specific month even at this point, but,
Yeah.
we're in July, so it has to be in the next 5 months. So
Yeah, not not too long,
Not
and it
too
is
long.
only available digitally. The only way
Ah,
you're gonna be
okay.
able to get it.
Yep,
So,
that's good to note as well. That's interesting. I thought collectors might like this one because it has such beautiful artwork as well. You'd think they might want the case and maybe some bonus additional material. I don't know. It seems like
yeah.
a game that would benefit from that. But anyway.
Yeah, the characters are popular, so some kind of, like, what do they call those little acrylic things,
Hmm.
like that, and, of course, there are a ton of very cute animals that you kill throughout the game.
Right.
Yeah, but, they can make a little mascot out of one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of flying cat in the second one on the cover.
Yeah, there is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't wanna kill that flying cat. Hopefully it's a helper.
Uh,
Looks like a helper.
yeah, yeah, it's not technically a cat, but I won't give any spoilers
Thank you.
on what it is. But yes, that's one of the main things about that game is figuring out what that is.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. I just spotted it in the cover art and I'm like, "Oh, what is that?" So that's actually part of the story. Nice.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you, Kirk. Let's move on to the games that we're playing this week, and I will kick things off. I'm playing a Switch game, which is a couple months old actually, this one, but it's called MotoGP 25, and it is a review title. It's been sitting in the queue for a little while, so I thought I'd pick it up and give it a go. I meant to grab this one before the Switch 2 came out, and I just didn't get around to it. Um, it's a motorbike racing title, which I find somewhat intriguing because I don't think I've ever played a dedicated motorbike riding title before. That's not to say they don't exist, of course, but it just hasn't been a thing I've come across personally. Have you ever?
I have,
Yeah?
not in a long time. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of, like, Wave Race or something like that. There was an arcade game that was like that. I think
Mm.
I played something like that on the Wii, but that's
Oh,
not what
okay.
we're talking about. Let's tell me
Yes.
about MotoGP 25.
Yeah. So, yes, it's because I mean, I like racing games. It's not like my favorite genre, but I do enjoy them. Even back in the Super Nintendo days, I used to play Top Gear. Obviously, I love Mario Kart, which is a different take on racing, of course, to the Formula One or whatever. But this is realistic motorbike racing, motorcycle racing.
Oh, you know what? You said motorbike. I thought you said motorboat.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking Wave
No,
Race.
no.
Isn't that the water based
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, I just had to correct myself because I don't want all of our listeners to be like, "Wait a minute."
Thank you for clarifying.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Wave Race, they do look are they jet skis? They look like motorbikes full of
Yeah,
water.
I think they are jet skis, yes.
I'll say motorcycles to avoid confusion. Sorry if my accent has tripped you up there. Um,
Oh, no, that's
yeah, so this is a realistic motorcycle racing title, and it has real life players that you can play as. It's got plenty of modes to choose from. It's got a pretty nice graphics. It's a Switch 1 title, but it looks really, really good for the Switch. I haven't noticed any issues with it, but it's hard. I think for me it was hard. Well, let me sort of backtrack a little bit there. It's hard initially, simply because I'm used to driving cars, not motorbikes. They handle very differently, and even in Mario Kart, you can tell the difference between a bike and a cart. They just it's the handling, it's the steering and the corners in particular. So I spent quite a bit of time practicing this one before I jumped into a race, and I was glad I did. They do a quick tutorial at the very beginning, which is fine and fairly easy and straightforward. I thought, "Yeah, okay, I got this," and then I did not have this at all. So I
yeah.
crashed a lot, but it's it's fine because it just picks you up where you left off, and of course, you lose time on your laps or whatever, but you can just continue. So I did the same circuit, I don't even know, 10, 20. I don't know how many times I did it. I did it a lot. But it's cool because when you do like I said, there's all these different modes, and say you do the Grand Prix mode, there's options to let you do as if you were in a real circuit or a real life situation where you're a bike rider, and there's a whole weekend of activities planned for you where you can do your you've got an hour to yourself on the track where you can just practice to your heart's content. You've got the warm-up session, you've got, all these different, qualifying rounds and all that sort of thing, and then, of course, there's the race as well. So you can kinda skip them, but if like me, you don't know what you're doing, you definitely do it. Definitely do the practice because you get used to the track, you get used to the cornering, and once you get a feel for it, because I don't brake a lot, like in Mario Kart, I don't think I ever use the brake, so you have to brake in this one. You really have to brake because you can't just come into a corner and turn. You
Yeah,
just
you can't just let up on the gas and say, "Good enough."
yeah, 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 you just flip. So the controls are pretty good. It's like ZL is the brake and ZR is the accelerator. And so I'm just like tapping both to kind of balance my corners. And when you get it right, it feels pretty good. So yeah, it just takes a bit of practice, but it is fun. I think if you're a motorcycle enthusiast, it would be appealing. Um, yeah, I'm enjoying my time with it so far. I'll keep playing a little bit more during the week and get a review happening. But yeah, it is a fun one. I think it came out I wanna say April, like, I said at the start, it is a couple of months old, so it's not a new one, but it is there if you're looking for some racing action that's not Mario Kart, specifically motorcycle racing. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of experience with that, so if that's something, that sounds fun to you, you might get a kick out of this one, but yeah. It's got that realistic look. You can make your own avatar as well. It's not as robust as Street Fighter's avatar creation tool, but you can change your, you can change your gear, like your helmet, you can change your number, your name, your gender, your, boots and gloves and all the rest of it. It's more about that look because you can't really see the avatar, you can't see your face most of the time. You've got a helmet on when you're racing, but you can customize your look to a degree. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if you can unlock more bikes or colors for your bikes. I haven't really tested out any garage features yet, but you can. There was this random mode I tried where you can try 3 different types of bikes. And one of them one of the types was like this weird mini bike thing, and it just looked ridiculous. I don't know if it's a real I assume it's a real thing, but I found that a lot harder to control because 'cause I'd spent like an hour playing, like testing, or practicing, I should say, the normal size bikes, and then there was these mini bikes, and I'm like, "What?" They just handle so weirdly. So, yeah. But there's I guess what I'm saying is there's more to it. If you wanted to, try different things, there's other modes you can play there as well. There's also online, but I did jump online and see if I could find people to race, and I couldn't. So, I don't know if that's because no one in Australia was playing last night. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how big and popular this game is, so it might not be the biggest pool of people to draw from, but it is an option that is there. So I'll try again during the week maybe and see how I go. But yeah, any questions for me about MotoGP 25?
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Sure.
First, I'm looking at the description here,
Mhm.
and one of the things that it says you can do is boost your rider's fitness.
Oh,
What does that mean?
I
Like,
don't
are you
know.
working out in the gym or something? And
I haven't come across that, to be honest. That's
okay,
interesting. No, I didn't see that. I'll have to look. There are a bunch of options with the rider and the settings, but I didn't see anything about fitness. So that's on the eShop listing?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Boost your fitness. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that, honestly. Yeah. That's news
uh,
to me.
the second more important question is I'm looking at the screen captures that they have here in the eShop. Does the game look this good on the Switch? These really realistic looking images.
No.
Okay,
No. No, maybe the 3rd and 4th one. The first one, that's not from the game. That's that's not from the game. Yeah, I'd say if you're looking I don't know if we're looking at the same page here, but the 4th and 5th one looks more like what you're seeing. Yeah,
okay,
they look very enhanced. We've said this before, haven't we, where sometimes when we do reviews, we use images from the eShop or whatever, if we don't have anything from the developer, or the publisher. But sometimes those eShop, images are not, they they don't really show the game the way it should be shown, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was curious. The reason I asked also is because I noticed that there were no interface elements. There's nothing on the screen to indicate your speed
Mm.
or something like that.
Mhm.
These, yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're not actual screenshots. Um, It does look good, don't get me wrong, it does look pretty good, but those look really high res, high def,
Yeah.
which is not the Switch. So, yeah, I don't know what that is. That's some sort of enhanced that might be from the because I think this is on other consoles as well, so it's probably from somewhere else. I do know when I did my first race, I did level up, like, I got points and I leveled up, so maybe that's where the fitness comes in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Because it does also say to sharpen your skills to dominate the track. So I think I don't know why you'd have to unlock, like, better cornering or something. I did see a setting where you can change your cornering style though. Like, there's, like, 5 or 6 different ways to do corners. I think the driving aspect is the same, but it's, like, what your rider does as he or she is cornering. So, for example, you can put your elbow to the ground or your shoulder or your knee or something like that. It's, like, different physical configurations as you corner. That was kind of neat that they have that configuration. It
Yeah, it
seemed
sounds like this is a very deep, you can customize all kinds of things kind of racing game.
yeah. Yeah, it is
Unlike, say,
pretty deep.
Mario Kart where you get what you get.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say it's quite deep in that sense. I think this is for the real motorcycle enthusiast who knows
Mhm.
the riders and, you can choose your country, so you can race for Australia. I chose Australia. You can race for Japan or the US or whatever, and they have the real names of the real riders, and you can even choose when I started the career mode, you can choose to start with the original lineup from the 2025 season, or there was a couple of other options which I didn't really understand what they meant, but I'm like, does that mean people get knocked out, or is it updating based on changes in real life? I'm not sure. But I just started from the original lineup. Oh, and it came out on the 30th of April. There you go. So it's
Okay.
about 2 months old on the Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does say you can play 2 to 8 players locally as well, which is pretty cool. I haven't tried um, the local multiplayer. I did see that there was a multiplayer mode, but I haven't given that a try yet, but that might be fun to give a try too. Although I think my kids would give up pretty quickly because they're not gonna have the patience to drive around the track for an hour like I did, getting the cornering right. Or
Yeah.
they might be really good naturally because they're kids. So
Well, that could be.
yeah.
And it does look like this is a series, so I imagine that anyone who's into this is going to be familiar with the gameplay and be able to pick up
Yeah.
25 and just start because it wouldn't be that much different from 24, for example, which is also
Yeah.
available on the Switch.
Yeah, there you go, exactly. Yeah, so I'm glad games like this exist because there must be an audience for it, and I
Yeah.
like that it's on the Switch. It's not usually my style. Like I said, I do like races, but I really thought I would just give this a go because it is a motorcycle one, and I haven't given them a lot of love in the past. So I thought, I'll give this a try and see how it goes. And yeah, I think they've done a good job with it, honestly. So yeah.
Well, hopefully MotoGP 26 has a dedicated Switch 2 version.
Yes, that would be
Then
nice.
maybe it'll look as good as it does in those pictures up there.
Yeah. Oh, that would be nice, yeah, and I was just playing in handheld mode, and it worked fine. So, yeah, that's my story. That's my motorcycle journey so far. So, stay tuned. What are you playing this week, Kirk?
Well, I wrapped up a couple reviews. So I rather than grab a new one right away, I went back to Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma,
Mhm.
which I reviewed. This came out on June 5th. I had the Switch version, so that's the version that I reviewed. After that, they sent me the upgrade pack for the Switch 2 version, so I went back into the game to mess around with this to see if I liked it better.
Cool.
Um, I will say I didn't like it better because I
Oh.
liked it so much to begin with that I was fine with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. It really does look better. It's much smoother. Like we were talking about, say with Breath of the Wild, as you're spinning the camera around, it doesn't stutter.
Mhm.
There's no lag in the battles, and there wasn't a lot before. It wasn't anything that I would have knocked it for, but there was some frame rate drops during some of the more intense fighting, and that's all gone now. The scenario, I mean, it being a Rune Factory game, a lot of it obviously you're building your farms and setting up structures in dedicated areas throughout the game. Those look nicer like from a distance when you're standing and just looking out over everything. The
Mm.
detail is there more. So playing it, I'm enjoying it the same as I did the Switch version, but having the Switch 2 version, I'm happier with it. in just that it looks better. Um, I wouldn't have needed it to look better, but now that I played it this way, like, yeah, this is what I want.
Yeah. Would it be jarring to go back, do you think, to the original version? And can you even go back to the original version? Like, on your Switch, can you still play the original?
I don't think I can. However, but I could probably download it on this because I still haven't. My original Switch is still around, and
Mm.
we're trying to figure out who's going to get it and who's going to get the other systems to
Yeah.
trade in for a Switch too. But
Ah.
so I still have it. I could download the Switch version there and play that. But yeah, I think once I run the update, I can't pull that out.
Yeah, fair
Oh, you
enough.
know what I could do is delete it and then just download the Switch version. I don't know. You posed a very interesting question
Did
that
you
I'm not going to be able to answer because I'm never going to take the steps to do it.
Yeah. Did you play the Switch version on the Switch too?
No.
You played it on the
Uh,
Switch, the original Switch?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I
because
guess it
I
would.
had the review ready to go on day 1.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, you had it
Yeah, they
before.
gave us an early access to it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's cool. No, I like that. I think, yeah, it's good to see the differences and hear, yeah, the actual, like, seeing off in the distance that working better, seeing
Yeah,
the stuttering when it's rotating, etcetera. I think those are specific details that, yeah, make a big difference overall. And
yeah,
like you said, it wouldn't necessarily make the original bad or unplayable or anything like that. You wouldn't even have knocked points from it, did you say? Yeah. Um,
yeah, and
yeah.
I think visually this is the kind of game it has that sort of anime look that has become very popular, especially in this genre lately, that really looked good on the Switch because they were able to skip the detail where it was necessary without making it
Mm.
obvious that they
Mhm.
skipped the detail.
Mm.
Um, and that's what I haven't seen a whole lot yet, or a whole lot of yet on the Switch 2 are the games where that's kind of like built into the visuals. So it really stands out on the Switch 2. These are some nice enhancements that make it look better and perform better. But again, it was designed to look great and perform well on the Switch just because of the art style that they took.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I would love to see something developed specifically for the Switch 2 for that reason. Like
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6 looks great, but it's, a couple years old. Yakuza is a couple years well, it's actually 15 years old. Bravely Default, I guess you could say was kind of made for the Switch 2, this version, but also it's anime style as well.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see someone making, and this is where that direct comes in, I suppose, whenever we get that with our sizzle reel, with our list of third-party games that are coming, because I don't think Nintendo will necessarily take advantage of that style because they're a bit more, Mario Kart World, they're
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
realistic kind of thing. It
Yeah. More
more
cartoony,
cartoony.
colorful. Yeah.
Yeah, we need that third-party development team who's making something really cool and, visually, amazing for the Switch 2 specifically. I guess maybe Dark Bloods could be an example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking that could be it. Again, I'm going back to Kunitsugami because that
Mhm, mhm.
obviously wasn't designed that way, and then maybe that's one of the reasons I was so crazy for it on the Switch 2 is because it was the first example of the type of visuals that we had never seen before. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I expected more of them, and they're not coming yet, so that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully soon, hopefully soon.
Yep.
I mean, either way, we'll get something eventually. It just it depends if we hear about it this month or next month, or if I think September is a bit long to wait, really, to be honest. I think they're gonna wanna get us excited before then, but
Yeah,
yeah.
well, even if it's just a third party direct where they allow the third parties
Yeah.
to show off, I honestly I'd be happier with that.
I think that's a pretty good idea, and then I reckon they do something Metroid Prime related at some point in the future.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that can get its own. Yeah, get
Yeah.
that its own direct here, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's what everyone's now waiting for is a release date for that. But yeah, the third party stuff, we need to know what's coming. I'm still waiting for my latest mana game to be announced for Switch 2. Where's my latest mana game? What was it called? I don't even remember what it's called now. Legends of
Was
Mana?
it
No, I don't know.
Secrets? I
Secrets?
don't
I
know.
can't. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, listeners. You know what I mean. The mana game from last year that didn't come to Switch, hasn't come to Switch 2. Where is it? I wanna know where it is. I wanna play it, make that happen. We've got things like Star Wars Hunters that was teased for the Switch 2. I think it even has a release date of September sometime. I think I need to see more of that. But there's obviously games coming, but I'm sure there are a lot more that we just haven't heard of yet, and I think a direct that showcases, 10, 20 third-party games we can look forward to for the rest of this year, that's gonna be amazing, and people are gonna love that and get really excited because now that we've had the Switch for a month, like we said at the very beginning, we're over that little excitement period. Um,
Mhm.
let's move to the next excitement phase. So, bring it on, I say. Yes. But that's something we'll have to monitor and keep an eye on, and obviously we'll talk about on the show as it happens. But I think that more or less brings us to the end of this week's episode, unless you had anything else to add.
No, I've covered it this time.
Well, thank you. We've covered a lot. Listeners, let us know your thoughts on all of these discussion points. We'd love to know what you're thinking. If you're happy with your Switch 2, if you've got one, of course. If you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Blue Sky, so head on over to there, which links to our website, purenintendo.com. And of course, if you'd like to support us, please head on over to patreon.com/purenintendo, and you will not only help us out, but you'll get yourself a copy of our physical Pure Nintendo magazine, the latest issue of which is getting closer and closer to publication. So look forward to that in your mailbox soon. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, listeners. Until next week, game on, everybody. Bye.